Welcome to the Young Hearts Run Free podcast. Morag Millar. How you doing, Morag?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
I'm very well. Stephen, how are you?
I am tickety boo. We're
Okay,
halfway through December.
we are. This episode came about because I had a chat with a Debbie Martin Kinsani, previous guest, friend of the show. And Debbie was very kind and reached a wee hand out to Morag and said, do you fancy speaking to the boys? So here we are. So thank you very much, Debbie, up front, for doing that. Maybe more on Debbie later. But what we would like to know, Morag, a lot of our listeners, myself included, didn't know before I delved into Young Hearts Run Free world famous research mode who Morag Millar was and what the story is. So what we like to do is get our guests to do their own bit of background story. So what first drew you into running and what is your backstory, Morag?
So my family, so my dad first took me down to athletics to improve my speed and stamina for football. Because I played football for Scotland at the time, and my dad wanted to take me down to just make me faster and fitter, but he didn't envisage at the time that I would start to improve in running, and I don't think it kind of went to plan because had plans for me to go to America and play over there and stuff. So, but then I started to win races, and then pretty much when I won the European Juniors, like over 1500, Derek, the coach, was like you have to make a really sort of serious decision there and choose between your sports. And obviously Derek wanted me to choose athletics, and that's what I ended up doing. But funnily enough, he said that if you stop with football, you'll get injured less, and that's not been the case. but that's pretty much it.
I'm going to dive. Well, I'm sure there's a lot more to it than that, Morag, but we'll fire in there. Football. Steve and I are big football fans.
Yeah.
What whetted your appetite for football?
I played it since I was 4.
Right. Okay.
And I just had like a footballing brain, so yeah, I just really liked it. I liked being good, and I used to have short hair, so I used to get mistaken for being a boy. Even like opposing teams, like their parents would be sort of a wee bit kind of aggressive, being like, "Oh, that's not a girl, that's a boy," and I just had like a knack for it. But I always think I always did things before they became cool. Like, so football's cool now for girls. Like, running's now become really cool. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but people are like doing marathons for fun and stuff. But yeah, now girls' football is really cool, but it wasn't then.
So you were a trailblazer.
That's right. I was leading the way.
What position was your favoured position on a football pitch?
I tended to be centre mid or right mid, but for my club, they would put me anywhere. So wherever they needed me, I'd be like sweeper, central defence, up front. But then for Scotland, it tended to be right wing.
Sorry, we're doing a wee football track. People are used to this if somebody mentions football. What was it like to get a Scotland jersey?
Oh, it was really cool. Yeah. I actually had a wee panic a few weeks ago because we'd cleared stuff out, and I'm like, did I chuck out my Scotland strip? I had to go hunting through the cupboard, and I found it. So, you know, when you have a clear out and you think you've chucked stuff out, because Lewis will say I need to chuck more stuff out. But I was like, oh, I didn't, and I didn't, so it's fine.
Who inspired you? Who was your favourite player?
What, female player or any player?
You choose.
I did. So basically, my family. I'm not so into football now, as in watching it at all. But at the time, my family were Rangers fans. So they are Rangers fans. But I used to love George Albert's. That team was fantastic. Like, you had like Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, Arthur Newman. There were so many good players that you could just totally.
Could you hit a ball? Could you hit a ball like George Albert's?
No. It wasn't too bad. I can't do a throw and save myself. I just couldn't do it.
Was it the hammer? The hammer.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Hammer, yeah.
I could scruff every one of those players' necks that you just said. Remember when they beat St Johnstone in the cup final? I was like, so I've got different views of those players.
Yeah,
only because they beat St Johnstone, Morag.
Yeah.
They're maybe slightly better than us, but anyway.
Okay, back to running. Derek, you mentioned the name Derek. Tell us who Derek is.
Oh, Derek Easton. So he's the coach at Central. So I don't know if you know much about him, but he's been like inspirational. He's taken the club, the endurance side of the club. So he basically has an endurance group, and he's brought so many athletes through. So he brought through like Ali Hay, me, Andrew Butcher. There's just so many, Jamie Crow. There's so many of the guys. Basically, all the central guys through endurance will come through Derek. And yeah, it's actually a really special club because the endurance group, I don't think you'll have an endurance group like it in Scotland because everybody trains together. So whether you're fast or slow, everybody all trains together. It does split into two like separate groups in the summer. But like for instance, in the winter, we'll have like 4 different sessions that we'll do, and everybody does the same session, but you'll do it on different cycles. So let's say if we're doing like an 800-meter session, some people will be on like 3-minute, like fast guys will be on 3-minute cycles, some people will be on 4-minute cycles, some people will be on 5-minute cycles, but you're all training together. So like the fast people speak to slow people, like you just know people, you just know everybody. It's a really nice vibe about the group that I don't think you'll get in a lot of places, because a lot of times the fast folk will be off doing their own thing. And yeah, it's really nice. Really like it.
Have you been a member then of Central AC for a long time?
Yeah, so I started running when I was 15. And although I have gone away and trained with other coaches, so when I was at uni, yeah, it was a bit. Lewis sometimes goes, "How did that work out for you?" And I'm like, "Not very well." But yeah, it was a tricky time because there are loads of things that happened. Like, so after I won the European Juniors, like the Institute of Sport become interested, and it just wasn't a good time for me because it was just a bad. There's no, that thing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So like when you're a runner, the main focus is running, but then the institute get hold of you and then they try and get you to do strength and conditioning, and then you end up doing these heavy weights. And I had a hamstring issue. This is like a long-term thing. We're actually just getting to the bottom of it really recently, actually. But I had a hamstring issue. Like even when I won the European Juniors, I'd actually had what we thought was a wee like hamstring tear. It was really quite a sharp pain. And then the institute take you in and they start doing weights. And I get really bulky if I do like heavy stuff. But they'd have like the runners doing the same things, the rugby players doing the same things, the curlers, everybody's doing like, and because they know their field, they don't necessarily know it like and then like applied to running. It was just a really bad thing for me. So what happened was I ended up getting really bulky and slow. And then when it came to doing fast stuff, I still had the hamstring issues. And before that, I'd just been going with Derek on a Saturday. We'd both go to the gym. I'd be doing like weights machines, like nothing serious. And then I'd do a bit of rowing and that would be it. But because then you go into institute and you're like, oh no, you need to change this. If you're going to become a better runner, you need to do this. And yeah, in retrospect, I don't think I probably did. But then you're kind of stuck, and then Derek doesn't really know what to do because he's not in weights. And then I basically approached Liz McColgan and asked if she could help me out with the weights. But then she said that if she was going to help me out with the weights, she'd want control of like all the like everything. And I was up in Dundee then, and I was finishing medicine at Dundee Uni. And I knew I wasn't going to do medicine. I basically had to finish the course because if you don't finish it, it makes it you look like you didn't finish it because you couldn't finish it. But then I was going into dentistry and I knew I was going to be up there, and it was going to be difficult because all through medicine I kept on travelling back to train every Tuesday night at Central in Stirling on a Tuesday night, and then Derek would give me something to do on the Thursday, and then so it's a really nice group to train with. But yeah, basically I went to move with Liz and it worked really well initially, but I think for me, and I'm learning more even as I get older, like less is more for me. I don't think doing high volume, really intense stuff works for me, because we were doing like it'd be 3 or 4 really intense things a week, and now I do one, maybe a couple of intense things a week, and that's it.
You used the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then you've explained a lot of things where folk were trying to fix things as well. A couple of things in there. Can you explain to me about the Institute of Sport? Is that like a full-time thing, or is that like, what's the programme there per week?
So what happens is, like, if they see promising athletes, they'll take you from different sports. So they'll take you to athletics, swimming, cycling. They'll take you and they'll give you like strength and conditioning support. They'll give you nutritional advice. They'll give you performance lifestyle advice. So they'll have different people coming in to do all these different things. But it's funny because I've spoken to other athletes and I'm not the only one it's not worked for.
Right.
And I think
there's too much change, maybe.
Yeah, or too much focus on, because obviously I think strength and conditioning is important, but not to the detriment of running. So you wouldn't cut down your miles for your strength and conditioning, probably not. And that's what ended up happening.
You mentioned about doing strength and conditioning and the weight stuff. It bulked you up a bit, and then you said about you got slower. Was there a marked difference when you got bulked up?
Yeah, so when I was under 17, I was like the Scottish national age group holder, so I ran like 2.5, and then after doing this, I couldn't run fast in 2.12. And there were photos of me, and I running, and I was so like, yeah, pretty muscly. Tank.
It's the Institute of Sport. Is that at Stirling Uni? Is that just beside the track?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So 2:05, for context for listeners, that was at 800 meters.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, 800. Yeah.
Just in case anybody was thinking it was 400 meters, because that's what it would be for me. Sorry, but that was were you specialising at that time in track?
Oh yeah, so I was only a track runner. So I was an 800, 1500 runner. So 800 was my. You'd think 800 was my thing. So basically, I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but like one of my main first bigger achievements was I was like the first like British woman to ever win a European title over middle distance, like juniors.
Okay.
But I didn't actually get the qualifying in the 1500. I got the qualifying time in the 800, and I just missed out in the 1500. But Derek asked them to consider me for the 1500 instead. So I went there not even having the qualifying time, because the 800 at the time, Derek saw the potential, and he's like, "Look, I think you can run this time." And I was like, "I don't know if I can." And then I ended up that I did run that time, which was 4:15.
4:15 for the 1500.
Yeah. And at that time, my PB was like 4:20.
Oh wow. Yes, I can see this. I am looking. And I can also see when you arrived at the Institute of Sport. Just because you've said your times.
Yeah.
So
then you're at a kind of crossroads, because then Derek is really good with running, but then you're getting outside advice from somebody else, and it's not working together. It was a very
complementary.
Yeah,
it has to be complementary, doesn't it? Yeah. I can imagine that would have been tricky, especially when you've seen your performance dipping.
Yeah.
But you could lift 2 bags of sugar, no bother.
That's right, aye. Maybe even 3.
What was your aspirations, Morag? What were you hoping to achieve, running wise?
Oh, this is going to be awkward. I feel like my running career is never. So I feel like I've got missing years. So I feel like the middle years of my running career weren't what they should have been. Because I got repeatedly injured, and I just never got consistent training. So what happened was when I went to join Liz, she got me running well within a few months. So I went to European cross country champs, and then within a few months I was back running well, and I finished 4th at the under 23s. But I remember there was a guy, Bob Ashwood, and I remember him saying very clearly, he was like, so I normally like try and pace things really well, but when we're walking around the course the day before, he was like, "Oh, by the time you get to this point, as you're coming to finish, make sure you've given everything by then, because you'll always have extra to give as you're coming to finish." So I did what he said, and I didn't have anything extra to give. So basically, I was fighting this like Russian girl to try and get 3rd. And then afterwards, it was a bit embarrassing, because then I'm lying, and they see me getting carried off, like in the bottom of do you know when they put the results up? And then and then later on I said to Bob, I was like, "You promised me if I got to this bit, I'd have extras." I didn't have anything. But that was still really good, because basically, so what happened was I'd improved really quickly. So over a few months, I'd basically become pretty fit. But I don't think that's kind of that level of training to get you to that was sustainable for my body, because I have got like a connective tissue disorder. So it's like an arthritis-y thing. So it affects my joints. So it affects my like Achilles, like it affects tendons as well. So Achilles, patella, that kind of thing. So I just don't think I can cope with the load. Maybe some people can.
This is fascinating. Really
I hope you think so.
It definitely is. There's a certain Commonwealth Games in there as well, isn't there? Did you represent?
Yes. Yeah.
Scotland at Commonwealth Games, which
Yeah.
between Scotland vest, Scotland shirt, Scotland. Yeah. Where was that? 2006. Remind me.
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah. But I feel like that wouldn't happen now. So basically, I didn't have the qualifying time.
Ah.
So because I'd won the European Juniors, it was so bad. So basically, after winning the European Junior, then you get drug tested. So there's me and Jessica Ennis sitting there, like getting drug tested, and then we have to go back to the hotel, and then we're getting ready to go out. But by that time, I'm starving. I'm so hungry. And then we get to like the banquet thing, to something to eat, and then there's obviously a language difference, and they have this big ball of meat there, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And they were like, "Oh, it's stork," and I'm like, "It's obviously not stork," but I didn't know what it was. But I was so hungry, I ate it anyway, and I got food poisoning, and it was terrible. And then I had to come back and do the Scottish Champs, and it was Chris Robeson who was the national endurance coach then. He was so nice. But basically, I really wasn't well, and I ran 4:20, and Hayley Evans was there, and Freya was there. But Hayley Evans beat me, but I beat Freya. But basically, Chris Robeson was like, "Look, if you weren't well," he said, "you shouldn't have run that race," because he thought it affected my chances for being picked. Because basically, I was trying to run that race and get the qualifying. But then I was like, well, I'm 5 seconds off it, but then I was like, I really wasn't well. But then, so basically, he kind of pleaded my case for me. But that wouldn't happen nowadays because you've got so many people doing really well. Like, so many people have won the European Juniors over 1,500 now since. Like, it's just because I was like the first one to do it. They took me for experience and and then I got injured beforehand, so I hardly did any running. But we had to try and keep it quiet because then it was going for experience. And then I ran 4:20 at the Commonwealth Games, and it was really aqua-jogging. That's all I've been able to do is aqua-jogging. And aqua-jogging just doesn't work for me. And I've over the years, I'm much better at cross training now. So I would do different things now. But I was actually really proud of still being able to run 4:20 off the training that I'd been able to do. But it was a really good experience. But I do feel lucky because athletes now winning the European Juniors as a Scot, you wouldn't get a look in.
Yeah.
A trailblazer indeed.
Absolutely.
Trailblazer indeed, yeah.
I'm just trying to work out the timeline. What age were you then, if you don't mind me asking? I know that can, but
19.
So 19-year-old went away to Melbourne to represent Scotland in the Commonwealth Games, and for a life experience point of view, that must have been something. Is that like the Gold Coast or something like that? That's round about there, isn't it? No, that's Brisbane. Sorry, I'm in the wrong part of Australia. So Melbourne. So that must have just been awesome.
It was so good.
Other side
because it's a multi-sport games. It's like you get to see everything. You get to go and watch things. So cool. And actually going to the stadium to watch other athletic stuff was amazing.
Similarities too with Liz McColgan. We spoke to Liz, and she went to America, didn't she? She left home, went to America, and then trained, and then she had a bad shift at the Commonwealth Games as well.
No, she did all right, and Ailish was doing all right at the Commonwealth Games as well.
yeah, brilliant. So you've been good company. Can I tell? Did you ever find out what that meat thing was? Was it stork?
Oh, I don't know. But if I see a big ball of meat now, I'm like, oh. It was massive, honestly.
Couldn't go in a kebab shop now.
It was on a stick.
What country was that in? Did you say?
In Australia.
It was in Estonia. It was in Kaunas.
Right, okay. John's now googling big balls of meat.
Big balls of meat. Anywhere.
Of meat, John.
Google history's going to look weird.
So can you talk then about lining up? We've had Eilish on, we've had Laura Muir on, and the moment that lining up to go and run that race at the Commonwealth Games, how do you focus there? What's going through your head?
It was a bit different because you've got like the call-up process is a bit different because you're like sort of traveling from I think it's like going from one call-up room to another call-up room. But it was kind of a wee bit like what they feel would be totally different to what I felt, because they were obviously way more competitive than I was. Like I was there knowing, well, if I'd been fit and had a good run up, then I would have been like trying to get in the mix and see what happened. But I was just trying to give my best and not sort of lose face too much because it just hadn't been the ideal prep. But then also to make the most of the experience. So I went there and I stupidly didn't take any of my medical textbooks and stuff, because you're out there for a month. And I got back and I had so much catching up to do. I actually ended up making myself a bit ill because I was so stressed, just because I purposely didn't take any books, which was like, I was like, oh, I'm just going to make the most of this experience. Whoa.
And but was there downtime where you could have looked at your book? So were you busy every day?
Yeah, but you want to make the most of it and like go and see other sports. And I think it would have affected my experience if I'd taken. I'm not be like, oh, we study in my room. I don't think that would have. I don't regret it.
Exactly. Would you change it now?
No.
What would Morag 2025 version say to Morag 2006 version? Take your books.
No.
Yeah, Egypt. But did he touch dialect dictionary words till later?
Very good, very good. Are you currently being coached by anybody, Morag? You mentioned a couple of coaches.
Not really, no. So like it's kind of strange. So I do train with Central, and I love. I've had a really rocky bit the last few months, like running wise. So I've had to train a lot on my own, which I absolutely hate because I've had to stick to grass for a wee bit. But I'm getting back now. So I'll go along to the training and I'll do the sessions with Derek. But a lot of the stuff I'll sort of trying to work out my own thing, and then I'll ask Lewis, my husband, who's a runner as well. He's pretty good second pair of years. So I'll always want his reassurance and his opinion about things.
What sort of running does Lewis do?
He's a nutter. He does marathons.
Okay.
But it's actually really, I'm really lucky because I'm obviously still wanting to compete, but Lewis is not as competitive now, so he's happy to just run. He says it's so he can eat more biscuits and stuff, but he's like, his main thing now on Strava is to just do 40 miles a week. So his Strava is just like, whereas mine's like this. I've seen that thing. You've got a Patagonia top on, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know the Patagonia logo, have you heard that?
Yeah.
So like, if you look at my Strava, it's like this. And his is like this. I was like, because I put a thing up on my stories, like this was weeks ago, being like these two people will meet. Like, so it's like I had a screenshot of his Strava and then and they'll get married. It's just like,
Match made in heaven.
Yeah.
His is like a flat line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's why if I'm a 38 mile a week fella, because that's 2,000 miles a year.
That's quite cool, actually.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever voiced that, John.
Don't think you have, but it's a wee golden nugget. If anybody's wanting to hit 2,000 miles a year, 38 miles a week is where you're at.
19 miles a week is 1,000. Just saying. Do you know this is the time of year that folks start thinking about next year?
Yeah.
Anyway, by the by, I'm pretty sure I see Lewis kicking about on Strava. Because I'm down at Stirling Uni quite a bit on a Saturday morning. It's because the kids swim there.
So do you do parkrun there sometimes?
Nah, I try.
You have, Stephen. You have, Stephen. You've got photographic evidence of that.
I try not to. I've only done it. They changed the route a wee bit. You used to have to go up the hill twice. You used to hate to go up, and now you just go up the hill once, but longer. What do you prefer? Now
I prefer the second one, just the once.
Yeah, definitely. I got a lovely surprise because I was expecting to go up the hill again.
The
second time round, and I didn't. And it almost like made me put my turbo boosters on. I was it was so and sometimes when you're on Strava, you'll know what I mean. I'm sure Morag, you just like other people who are kind of doing the same segments.
Yeah.
Not that I'm comparing myself with Lewis at all or anything like that, but I'm sure I see him when I'm looking how think I'm doing all right in a segment, and I look to see I'm like that, or I can't run this route because those Central AC guys are running it. So it's just like, forget about it.
You just go for the local legend status then.
That's the one, the local legend round the track at the uni. I sometimes can't get my arse off the track at the uni. I'll go for a half marathon and just do like 50 laps of the track or something.
Does that not bore you?
Well, ask John about that. He did 100 miles on it the other month.
Let's not do that. I can also just say as well, 9.5 miles a week gets you 500 for the year. Right. We'll move on. You're talking about weekly mileage. What's a typical training week for you, Morag?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Well, so ideally, I feel like this past week has been what I want to try and maintain. Okay. So I think I was about 55 miles or something. So what I'll do is on a Monday, so my days in clinic are like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then every second Sunday. So I'll like try and sort of work my training week around that. And so I'll do like a longer, so I've started doing PT since last February, because it was so bad. Like basically coming up to the national cross country champs, like with the girls and stuff, like I'd be taking Molly swimming and then Maisie understandably. So we've got two girls that are like 5 and 2. And the younger ones wanted to get in the pool and she'd be kicking off and I'd be lifting her up and I'd feel like things are tweaking and it's so grim. It was just one thing after the other. I just felt so fragile. But anyway, I started doing PT and I feel like things are getting stronger. So I'll do that on a Monday morning and then I'll go straight into my run because that activates everything. Because particularly, like, so I've like got sort of back problems, but if I get everything activated, then it makes things feel a lot better, and then you feel like you're, especially like sort of glutes.
Can I jump in? Can you tell us what a PT session is for you?
So I work with this with Blair. So he's a local personal trainer, and yeah, basically what I like is that he'll like tailor things to you. So I'm not lifting heavy weights. He's basically identifying weaknesses, and then it'll be like one side and the other side. So I'm not doing anything that's 2 legs or two anything. You're doing one side and the other side, and you'll often do your weak side first and then match it. So it's just things like leg abductions and like dumbbells, like all dumbbell stuff. It's not like bar stuff or anything. And then I get some stuff to do at home as well, but it's never anything like it properly burns, but it never looks like you're doing all that much.
Hurts the next day though, eh?
Not really, no. It's actually not bad.
You must be doing it right. So how did you meet Blair?
So I was getting issues before I raced last cross country, and I went and see him just for like a massage, and then he was like, look, you've got weaknesses here and weaknesses there, and he said this is coming from here and that's coming from there, and it totally made sense because I was like, that's right. And then he like, I can't remember how it came about, but he said that he did personal training, but he was also working between Airdrie and Stirling, so he wasn't fully moved up here yet. So this was last October, November, and he didn't actually start here till like the end of February, so that's why I had to wait until February to start with him. So now he's moved up and does everything through here. So yeah, basically, when he was talking about the issues, he's like, this tightness here is because you're weak here, and then he would get me to try and do something, and then I would be really weak there, and I was like, oh, he's right. He obviously knows what he's talking about. So
they've got magic in their fingers, eh? How they can say, how they can feel these. Can you say Blair's last name? Because I'm sure people are listening in. So.
Yeah, Blair Ingalls.
Blair Ingalls. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So he's basically based down in Stirling. So if you Google him, you'll be able to find him.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Sorry, I interrupted. You were talking about your week. So you do your PT session that warms you up. Back to you.
Oh yeah, and then I do 8 miles on a Monday. The Tuesday I'll do an easy 4 miles, and then I'll have my group session with Central at night. Wednesday I'll do 8 miles again. Thursday I'll do 5 miles in the morning, and then I'll do a spin class at night.
Okay.
Friday I'll do a rest day, but I'll often take Maisie out for a wee walk. That's my day with Maisie while Molly's at school. And then Saturday I'll do a park run, Stephen. And then I'm only just back to doing that now, but I'll do a wee mini session afterwards. It's like a kind of stride out session, but you're still trying to, and it's pretty much the same thing I do every time. Like I'll do like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Just like something not crazy big, but not too short either, with a minute jog in between. And then Sunday I'll do my long run. I'm building that up, and I'm back up now to 12 miles because it's been 7 or 8 miles for weeks now. I didn't actually think, because basically I've recently had an MRI in the summer. I've got back issues, and I didn't think I'm going to have to stop doing really hilly. Because what would happen is Lucy would be like, oh, I think you should go for a really hilly run before my big races, like just to get you strong. So I'd do a hilly run and then come back off the back of it. The impact on my spine, and then I'd end up with issues like a few days later, and we didn't know what was going on. And the MRI really helped to sort of clear things up. So yeah.
So is it MRI now? You know how you have to adapt your running and your strength and conditioning rather than So you've now got that knowledge.
Totally.
Train smarter.
Totally, yeah. But plus also, it showed up that I've got like bony edema on my vertebrae, so that means I've got fluid on my vertebrae. And I see this woman for Shockwave. She's absolutely amazing. So the bony edema wouldn't disappear on its own. So I've used Shockwave in the past for numerous things, because in 2018 I got told that I probably wouldn't run again because I had like patella tendinosis. So I've, but again, that's probably a link to like my joint, like connective tissue thing. So yeah, I feel like I'm really lucky. I'm so happy to have got round about me now. Like physio, Shockwave, Blair, and then obviously Lewis, who takes the hit because he lets me go and do my running and stuff. It's just
that's it. But that shockwave that I've had the shockwave on both my Achilles. John, have you had shockwave?
Never. No.
So at first it's a wee bit weird, but then you kind of get used to it, because there's a few people I'd spoken about it on the podcast before. Morag had got in touch with me to say, what's this shockwave thing? Now, I'm not an expert, but it was almost like it's that painful in that good way, because you think it's doing you good, and you get used to it because of that. And it sounds like that's worked for you, but I don't know if it works for everybody, but it worked for me.
It's not a quick fix though either, is it? People, you shouldn't go for it and expect it to be fixed like a couple of days later. There's a process, isn't there? But everybody's different, you know. But when you were talking about these people, it's like your team. It's like Morag's a boxer walking in, and this is our corner. People have got our back. I can't wait to hear what your walk-on song is later on, man. That's going to be absolutely brilliant. But no,
I just realised I haven't got someone to sponge my face.
John's your
I'd be good at that. But also thank you very much for describing your training week. Have you got a favourite session across the week?
I've got a favourite session. I do. I didn't. It's weird. I didn't used to like the 800 ones we do in the winter, but I think that's probably my favourite one. Yeah.
Okay.
We do a hill session at the back of Stirling Castle sometimes, and I did it a few weeks ago for the first time. And because of my back, I've been involved like avoiding hills of any type for ages, avoiding hilly runs. Honestly, the DOMs lasted a week. I got to the next Monday and it was still there, and I was like, so that was a shock to system. That was only a few weeks ago. I was like, I don't know, don't know what's going on there.
And well, you've mentioned a couple of times that you've done the park run. You've done the park run on Saturday, and you seem to have done, quite like a park run. How's Morag's evolution been like from that 800, 1500 meter specialist when you were younger and you're on the track? Where do you find your sweet spot now? What do you enjoy most in terms of events or distances?
I still feel like there was a race a couple of weeks ago at East Districts, and I had to I ended up in a sprint finish, and it's one of those things where you don't think you've got a sprint, but I still do have a bit of speed, I think. But I think 5K is my sweet spot. Like I don't get how people can run so close to their 5K pace for a 10K. I just can't do it. Loads of people seem to be able to do it, but I think I'm more a 15.5 person. So I think 5's my thing at the moment.
Yeah. And in terms then of your 5K, in terms of that competitiveness that's there, age cap wise, you're still in about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'd maybe just scalp me a wee bit at the Stirling Park run if we ever ran it on the same day as you. But just for context, what's your 5K PB sitting at?
So 15:49 on the road and 15:43 on the track.
Okay, and it's just so our listeners can relate to where that is in terms of time, because it's become, I think it's because of park run, it's become quite a common distance for people to know their sort of 5K time, and so. Yeah, it was a little chance to brag. I would be bragging more so about it than that, Morag. But it's also just to say that's where the level is at. I know. I'm just looking at it. That one that's down at the seaside in Edinburgh, the Scottish 5K Championship one that Adrian Stott puts on.
Yeah.
We see footage of that. I've never been down. Is it a Friday night or?
Always a Friday, yeah.
Is that when you get the pineapple?
Yes,
yeah. You get a pineapple. And it's obviously just the standard there in terms of the average finishing time and such like. It's quite eye-watering, so I've got a few mates who are, solid 17, low 17s or whatever like that, and they're just like, this came like 400, and I'm like, ha. That's how I feel. As such. But so anyway, the answer I was trying to get to, 5K, that's where you're most competitive and comfortable and enjoy it at that point. Have you got? You spoke about Lewis being a nutter doing marathon.
Yeah.
Have you got any aspirations to turn out a marathon at one point? Or maybe you already have. I didn't even ask, actually.
No, I haven't. No. Yeah,
okay.
And then when
okay.
some people ask, like, if you say they're a runner and they ask if you've done a marathon, you say no, and they're like, "Oh, you're not a real runner, then are you?" But yeah, no, I don't. I didn't think I ever would want to. But in watching London this year, it was so. That's the first time I thought, oh, maybe I would. But I think you'd always be a bit torn because, like, you'd want to get a good time. So I'd have to do it quite soon, but I've no desire to do it. I don't think. I think I would. I don't think I'd enjoy it. You're either trying to go for a time or you're trying to enjoy it, aren't you? I don't think.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be 40 next year.
Okay.
So at the start of the year, I did have that aspiration because I'm basically like fourth in the all-time list in the UK for V35s. But then come February, I'm going to be in V40 category. So I was wanting to try and, because it's Joe Pavey and Helen Clitheroe at the top, and they're like legends. So I was wanting to come. I don't know who the
At
third
the
person
V40?
is. What's sorry?
At V40?
At V35.
At V35. So you're fourth behind Helen Clitheroe, Joe Pavey, another than you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to be third, but then I'm running out of time.
Okay.
Just because, so I'm going like really well in the summer, and then I missed a lot of training in the summer. I'm just trying to sort of get back into things now. So yeah, it's been.
And then have you already studied the V40?
Yeah, so Helen Clitheroe's done. I think she's done 16 minutes or 16:01.
Okay.
So she's top.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant.
But we are lucky though. Super shoes make a massive difference. You guys got super shoes?
I'll yield to Stephen on that question.
Well, the one time recently that I did the Stirling Park run, Jen Wetton was the director that morning. You know
Yeah.
Aye, and she
I'm good friends with Jen.
Yeah, I thought you would know Jen. She'd recently come and did the Auchterarder Running Festival, 10K and she done well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she managed to get a photo of me coming off the first lap, and here I had some super shoes on, so she was she was ripping the piss out of me for wearing super shoes.
I think I saw that photo on Facebook actually. I think she put it on her.
Yes, that was said me. So yeah, I'm very, very much a convert in terms of the difference that it's made for me. So yeah. And you, what's your favoured? We call them schwanks. I don't know if you've heard that term. So it's super shoe wanker.
Oh yeah.
Shoe wanker, schwanker. So yes.
Yeah, I get that. It's like from in between her. She's a suitcase wanker, isn't he?
Yeah. Similar to that. So yes.
Briefcase wanker.
I've got. Yeah, I'm a Nike fanboy. So.
What's your shoe? So
I like Saucony's actually.
Yeah, Endorphin Pro.
Yeah, Endorphin Pro, and then they were weird though. They brought out their Speed, and then they had their Pro, and then they brought out another one on top of that, which is their Elite. So their Elite's like kind of like their bouncy shoe. Yeah. So I won't wear that, but I'll wear their Pro. Yeah, exactly.
Costly shoe. Yeah. John's now glazed over for the benefit of anybody listening rather than watching.
I'm still thinking about that big boss stock. Anyway. We're all right. Now, it seemed a while ago. We can come back to shoes because it's very important. It plays a massive part in running, obviously. But I asked you about your favourite training activity session. What about your least favourite session that you do? Is there something you think, oh man?
Do you know what? I'm not a morning person, so park run I do find that hard. I love the feeling afterwards, and it's great for us as a family because if we're all going together, we'll go somewhere. If the weather's all right, we'll go somewhere with a park. And it's actually, I'm so lucky because he does take the hits. So he'll take the girls into the park, and hopefully it's somewhere where they can still see a wee bit and stuff. Apart from that, the Sunday long run, I find that a grind.
Okay, what is a long run distance wise? Sorry, maybe you said what it was. What's a long run?
So it used to be 15 miles, but I think I'm going to try and keep it at 12 now because I don't want to put too much pressure. The old body.
And do you do that? I'm trying to think where you are. Do you do that on a track, or is that on
No, so again, Liz teases me because for ages we live just near Kings Park. That's like the bigger park in Stirling, so we're really lucky.
Yeah.
But because I've had to stay on grass for a long time, sometimes I'm just doing laps. So I'm slagging you off for being on the track, but I'll do that. It's like a mile to mile and a half loop. I would just be doing that over and over again. Local legend. not deliberately, but yeah.
Well, you'll have ran round the North Inch in Perth, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a mile and a half loop, and you can either do it on grass or on the pavement. And I sometimes see when I'm doing it on the pavement, people running on the grass for whatever reason. You know,
it's a good surface.
Yeah, it's not one that I'm. Do you know, like what you wearing on your feet to run on that?
Oh, I love the New Balance Moors. So they're like the 1080s on steroids. So I used to love the 1080s, but I think I need more cushioning now as I just love the the Moors. They're just so bouncy. So they're basically New Balances like. So I know it sounds weird. I think I would like New Balances racing shoe, but I'm like New Balance for like my mileage and Saucony for my racers. I don't know why, but yeah, my overall favourite shoe I'd say is the New Balance Moors. I love it.
So we went back to shoes very quickly there,
yes.
John. Sorry, John.
Yes, John.
Keep us right.
Well, I'm going to stick with shoes as well. What shoes do you wear for cross country? Is it the Moors?
No, so you need to have like spikes in your
spikes in.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your chosen spike?
So it just used to be like any like spikes, but then I started wearing like the Nike Dragonflies because
they sound fast.
Yeah, they're the bouncy, like they're the carbon. I'm not sure how much they give you over muddy grass. I used them once for like there was a really frosty race, and it totally saved my legs. So now I just wear them because I do have like Achilles like heel problems, and the tab on those is just so much more comfy. So yeah, it just means.
I was actually having a Saturday morning conversation just there. This is going to shock all the listeners with Gillian McGill. And Gillian McGill was talking about wearing Hoka spikes for cross country. It's the first time I've ever had a type of conversation about spikes. So I'm now comfortable with this type of conversation, Morag. So thank you. And she was talking about there being a bit of a cushion. Gillian, I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying, she's got a wee bit of a planter thing that comes and goes. She said, but the Hoka one's for her. Oh well, there you go. So and it's cross country, which looks absolutely horrendous when you're viewing it. Do you like cross country? Do you love it?
Yeah, I do like it. Yeah.
Because you just go tonto, don't you? It's just like
yeah. It depends on the course, and then because the course can change depending on how muddy it is and stuff. You're not. It's not so much on time. It's just on the race, which is quite nice. Whereas every other anything, well, not even part run, but every other like a track race, it's always like, what are your lap splits and what's your. You can get, and then even roads, if it's like a flat race, it's often quite intense because it's just like, well, what time did you run? Whereas cross country, it's not really. It's about margins and stuff. It's not about your pace really, because
but you do it as a team. Do you do it as part of a team? Or do
you do? There's individual races, there's individual races, and then there's relay races, and then there are sometimes individual races where you can count for a team. So depending on where you place. So yeah.
Okay. Right.
And you do it at Scone Palace, John?
Yeah. I've seen that, and there's some of them. Again, I was talking to Gillian and Tony about cross country the weekend. Gillian is now a member of Garscube, and the DMC School of Running. Debbie Martin-Cansani is also a member of Garscube as well. So so Gillian's been talking, something new to Gillian this year, so we were talking about it, and Tony runs, her husband, he runs the cross-country stuff as well, and they were really enthusiastic about it, and we're talking about it. So we had quite a long chat about all things cross-country, and I knew we were speaking to Morag, because you had a good shift recently, Morag, didn't you? It was on your one of your Instagram stories. You came in joyous, had a great day out, didn't you? So congratulations on that.
I'm just pleased to be finished.
Yeah. Sorry, we went off a wee bit. That's what happens when you speak about shoes as well. But one of the things we want to speak about, you've mentioned about your children, and you've been a very elite runner before you had your babies. You're back. You're an elite runner after your babies. But let's speak about that being pregnant and running, because we had a wee pre-recording chat about that, and then also about that transitioning from back into athletics again. So let's speak about running when you're pregnant, first of all. Let's do that.
So when we first fell pregnant, we weren't trying. It was a big surprise, and I didn't have a clue what was going on at all. So I was like so breathless, and this is from really early on. So I think it surprises people if they haven't thought about it or don't know how much it affects you from early on, because it's not the size. Like, it's not the size. Even when you're a bit bigger, it's not the size. It's how breathless you are, because basically the baby's taking everything from you first. So it was, yeah, I just didn't have a. So I was cross training, then I got back running, and then I was surprised. I was like, I'm really unfit here. I'm normally more fit when I get back. And then we found out that I was pregnant, and it explained a bit. And then from then, I think I find pregnancy quite tough, because you're trying to exercise, but it's, so basically you have to kind of just take each day as it comes. And then we went into lockdown, and I know obviously lockdown was a really tough time for some people, but it was actually, it sounds maybe bad, but it was a really nice time for Lewis and I, because we got to spend lots of time together before life changed forever.
Yeah. Okay. And you said you ran up 8 months pregnant? You were running?
Yeah, so just under 8 months pregnant. They were doing virtual races at the time, so I did a 5K then. Yeah, because that's when you were talking about if I was on Twitter, and I was like, I'm not X. I was like, I'm not a massive fan, because I did it was like 18, like 26, and then a local radio station picked up on it, and they wanted to put out a bit of it. It was just totally fine, but then because that was during the first lockdown, when it was so serious. So basically, Lewis had to video something and send it into them, and they used it. And then you get loads of people like commenting, and like, oh, she's doing the baby so much damage, and she's so selfish, and blah blah blah. But then I'm like nearly 3 minutes slower than I would be normally, and like the only time when I was with pregnant with Molly, that I felt too breathless, it bothered me afterwards, was I was actually cycling with Lewis one time, and I got really breathless. And I talked to my physio about it afterwards, and she was like, look, don't worry about it. She was like, it'll be the position more than anything else. So like I never ever, when I was exercising when I was pregnant, I never ever felt out of control, apart from that one time when I was cycling. She said that'll be a positional thing, not an exertion thing, because it just came out of nowhere, which does make sense if you're squashing everything. But yeah, honestly, people can be quite brutal on Twitter, I think. Other athletes I know have had that a similar kind of thing, but to a bigger extent.
Yeah, so it's a technical term coming up, a dialect dictionary entry. All you bampots on X who are experts, stand down, hear a word with yourself. Morag kens what she's doing. So, two girls, sorry, we call them babies, will still be babies to you. They'll always be babies. But 5 and 2, did you run in between them?
Yes, yes. But after Molly, so Molly was a really difficult delivery. So she was back to back. So that's like occipital posterior. So the way that she was positioned, it was really like traumatic. The whole thing. So basically, like, my contractions started on the Saturday night, and she didn't arrive till the Thursday. My waters broke on the Tuesday night, but then they sent me home thinking they hadn't broken, and then I was in on the Wednesday night. It was just absolute. And then by the time it came for her to arrive, my morphine had worn off and my epidural had come out. So I felt absolutely everything. And then basically they were getting her out, and they weren't sure whether to take me to theatre or not. And then they decided to deliver, and they pulled her out. Like, don't know how much detail to go into, but my pelvic floor basically was really damaged, because I could actually feel it tearing. And then afterwards, they tried to put the epidural back in, and then afterwards, and they were like, oh, you can't go for a shower, your legs won't work, you won't be able to feel anything. And I was like, I felt absolutely everything. So basically I had gas in air, so that was great. And they were saying to Lewis, like, you have to take that off for a wee bit, she's taking in too much. And I was taking in, like, I basically needed it. And honestly, like, I loved him, because he didn't try very hard to take it off me, really. I was just like, oh, because I needed that. So yeah. So but then basically after that,
himself every now and again.
Can I just say,
a wee bit of himself every now and again. I remember being in that situation. I'm like, give me that.
Yeah,
can I just say, Morag,
good on you, Lewis.
We're here for as much detail as you want to share. We didn't shy away from anything, because there'll be a big majority of our listeners are going to be, they'll be female, and they'll either be, maybe they've not had babies yet, but they might in the future. So all this sort of stuff is really, really important. So whatever you're happy to share, please do.
Yeah, cool, right, thanks.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically afterwards I had like complications related to that. So basically you go home, and I was desperate to get home, but then things got worse and worse, and you don't realise because you're not used to you don't know what to expect. So I was limping about, and I thought that was normal, and I was struggling like to sit down or anything, and it turned out like I had a big hematoma right beside where the baby comes out. So that was like the worst pain I've ever had in my life. So I was like screaming, crying to Lewis. And he was sitting in the living room, and he was shouting because he didn't know what to do. And I'd phoned maternity triage, but then we was like, we're not waiting. Like, I just couldn't handle it anymore. So basically, we drove through, and basically they had to readmit me, and they thought they were going to have to take me to theatre to cut and remove the hematoma. But it turned out it was IV antibiotics. Basically, apparently it's partly infected, because that's what happens when a bit of blood comes out outside a blood vessel. It forms a hematoma, and bugs love it. So yeah, it was just a really traumatic time, and because that hematoma was there, it meant that my pelvic floor didn't heal because it's basically torn on that one side. So I was just in a really, really bad place after having Molly, because it's during COVID, so nobody can come around and help you. Yeah. My body feels terrible. Like, you just, because it's so much trauma, you've got this newborn person, but then you don't have any emotions for anything. It was absolutely, it was so bad. And then basically, this is one of the things I love about Instagram. So Instagram, I feel like the community is really nice, but you're posting certain things, and then people are like, oh, you should go and see a pelvic health physio, like blah, blah, blah. And I'd never, ever heard of the specialty pelvic health. And now I bang on about it all the time, because I think it's so important, because basically, as a woman post-pregnancy and post-delivery, you go along to the GP and get your 6 to 8 week check, but in reality, they don't check the mum, they check the baby, and they don't even look at you. So any issues, so basically in France, they do a check on the women, and you get care afterwards, so postnatal care. But in the UK, we don't get that. And I don't think that my care should have been on the NHS, but I feel like a check should have been, so that I knew the options, because I only found out that pelvic health was an option because of somebody I think it's 2 people messaging me on Instagram to be like, oh, you should. So if it wasn't for that, my pelvic floor was so damaged that it sounds dramatic, but I wasn't so I'm permanently damaged now, but I just feel like I would have not been the same person, because I would have felt like I was a bit disabled because I couldn't go back to doing the thing that I did before. So
right, thank you for sharing that.
That's okay. Right. You're welcome.
And vive la France, shall we say as well? Can you, and thankfully these people message you on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
I love, that's the good power of social media.
Oh, totally, yeah.
But so what advice would you give to a mum who's not yet given birth, who's pregnant, or who's going to be pregnant in the future? What advice is there? Advice you would give to somebody about what they could do or what they could think about?
Well, I'd definitely say once you've given birth, you have to wait 6 weeks before you can get checked. So I would basically schedule in your pelvic health, like physio check. So get in touch with somebody locally if you know that somebody's been to someone, and get a recommendation. So I went to see somebody after the first one, but the one I saw after having Maisie, she was next level. And I've had several women message me asking, or not even then, sometimes their husbands actually messaging asking for like a recommendation, because they know I got back running afterwards. And to be honest, I was actually really traumatized after having Molly, because even like driving into car park, the same one that we drove into, I had to go in there for my COVID vaccination, and it totally caught me by surprise, because I ended up getting really upset in the car park. And I totally didn't expect that at all. And then for a while, it was like you'd just be like waking up at night and stuff like that. But basically, I had someone else message me, get on Instagram, because she'd asked for help when she was running and for recommendations about buggy and stuff. And it turned out she was a surgeon, and she said you could always consider a C-section if you want one. And that put my mind at rest, because you can request it if you want, because of the damage that I had. Like, it's not nothing. Things are not going to stretch as they would normally. And C-section for having Maisie was definitely the best thing for me. So yeah, I just feel like you have to sort of look into things yourself and definitely get set up with a pelvic health physio afterwards.
But it's having that awareness about it, isn't it?
Totally,
and thinking about it, and not regardless if you're a runner or not, you know, just for giving birth and how you're going to be afterwards. So how is there things that you've done, if you're happy to share them, is there things that you've done that have aided you to get back to running and running fast?
Yeah. Basically, the pelvic health physio. So the second one that I saw, she was saying, "Oh, look, you're actually really tight. Like, so you don't need. You're doing the Kegels, which are the exercises that they tell you to do, but they're not appropriate for everybody." So I basically say, like, although you can start doing some exercises yourself, you need to go and get advice and get assessed for what's right for you, because what's right for you won't be the same thing for everybody. So I think until you know what's right for you, you need to. So I definitely, obviously, it's if people can afford to go, like I just make it a priority. And you don't need to see them loads, because they'll see you maybe 2-3 times and then that's you. It's honestly amazing. So basically, I've as I said, I've got damage there, but my pelvic floor feels back to pre-pregnancy. It's not, but it feels like it is. Yeah. So I'm running and not thinking, I'm not any different to anybody who's not had kids pelvic floor wise. It doesn't feel like I am, because I feel like she's giving me that back. And it's like she does give you exercises and you do have to do them. But most people, I think, will be motivated if they know it's going to make them feel more like back to what they were before.
Mm.
And that's
okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, so you C-section second time round. Mm-hmm. And what did you say your youngest was? 2?
2.5, yeah.
2.5. Yeah. So, and you returned to running quite reasonably well after your second pregnancy? Yeah,
it was really weird. So basically, there's a guy at our running club, Ewan, who's a consultant anesthesiologist. Anaesthetist, sorry, what I'm talking about. He's a consultant anaesthetist, and he was...
Can I ask his second name?
Yeah, Ewan Jack.
Yeah, I know Ewan. Yeah. He runs for Oakhill Hill Runners. Yeah. As well as Central.
Also runs for Central.
Yes. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. Oh, he was brilliant. He ended up being our consultant. For the C-section, and it was absolutely brilliant. Like, Lewis thinks I'm going to wee bit OTT sometimes, I think, because I lost a lot of blood with. Okay. So basically, it turns out like my blood vessels are really big. So like after the, I was just so grateful for them. For after C-section, we sent you and Jack a hamper, but they must have not put the gift note in, and I'd messaged him asking for his address, and then he messaged me and was like, "Oh, thanks so much, I take this from you, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Oh, the surgeons are still talking about your anatomy and your blood vessels and stuff." So there's a bit of a panic, basically. But they were so good. Like, I heard Ewan's voice go a wee bit, and I was like, "Oh." But he said basically I'd lost 2 litres, but I ended up losing 3 litres, which is a lot. Okay. And honestly, I'm like, oh, I feel like they saved my life, which pretty much they did. But they had to take Maisie out with forceps. So she's a C-section, but to get her out quickly. Yep. And I just feel like the care I got that second time was amazing. But yeah, so every time I see you, and I'm like, oh. But yeah, it's really good. But my recovery from the C-section, despite the blood loss, was a lot better. So much better. Yeah. So it was quite intense. It's quite sore afterwards because they've cut through a lot of layers. But apart from that, honestly, the recovery was a lot faster.
Thank you very much. You're sharing some really personal stuff, and I really, really appreciate that. And I don't think we probably won't ever know how much having this type of conversation helps people. So thank you very much.
If Lewis is watching this, he's probably like, you're probably sharing too much, but hopefully not.
There is no too much. Not for me anyway. Not for me. I don't think there is too much, because you never know. Somebody might hear it and mention it to somebody else. They might not even listen to this, but somebody will say, I listened to this podcast. This lady was talking about this. They might not be runners, but just what you've mentioned there, it might just start a conversation with somebody. So thank you very much for sharing what you have. Well, I'm going to bring it back to running, right? It's the demands of training at an elite level, training, competition, and being a mum. How do you balance that?
We're really lucky because we've got help with grandparents. So when I'm working, like they'll go, like, so Molly's at school now, and then Maisie will go to nursery on like a Tuesday and a Thursday morning. But like my mum and dad, they're able to do the school pickup on like the Tuesday and Thursday, and then Lucy's mum and dad will pick Molly up on the Wednesday. We're just so lucky. I just don't feel it wouldn't be nearly as easy if you didn't have that support, because then I'd only be able to work like 10 till like 2 or something. It's not.
Yeah.
It's so. I think it's so. Yeah, we just really, really appreciate it. And then I really appreciate that Lucy lets me go to training on a Tuesday. And it's actually really good in the winter because where the training is, I just run from home. So we live just outside Stirling. So I'll get a wee head torch on and a wee backpack on, and then I'll run up to wherever the training like is going to be. So we don't actually know the session, but it's only one of like 3 places because 2 of the sessions start at the same place. So yeah, basically, so that's really time efficient because I go, I warm up, do the session, warm downs back home. And then Wednesday night I have my late night in clinic. Thursday night I do a spin class. So Luce lets me, like, he's basically, so I'll, like, he goes to work early, so I drop the girls off at school every morning except on Monday. He does his Monday drop off. So it just does work in really well. I just feel really lucky because with my own business I can start at 10, whereas some mums, they have to do the preschool clubs, they don't get to do the drop offs and stuff. Just feel like we're really lucky with where we are. At the same time, like, we've worked hard to get to where we are.
Yeah, I was going to say, lucky, but you've created that environment to allow you. Aye, but to allow you to build in that, and I'm sure you pass the baton between Lewis as well and let him go and do his long run at the weekend or whatever. Do you know, it sounds familiar.
That team in the corner just got bigger with the grannies and granddads in it as well, by the way. Come on, take on the world, man.
They're magic.
Absolutely fantastic. What are you currently aiming for? What's your current goals in running, Morag?
So I don't know if it's going to happen now, but trying to get that higher up the all-time list before I hit 40 would be nice.
And how many chances have you got to do that?
Well, there's a New Year's Eve race, but I don't even know if I'm going to do it. If I'm not fit, I'm not going to go all the way down in Newcastle. I don't know if I'm going to go for that or not. Because that's the thing. I think I'm quite realistic if I'm fit or not. I don't know. But then I can turn it around within a couple of weeks. So I don't know. We'll see. Well, it's literally, I've only got a couple of weeks. So.
and you've got Christmas in there.
Yes, extra carb load in. That'll be all right.
You'll be flying.
Yeah.
You'll be flying. Okay, and that's like a 5K event down Newcastle. Yeah. And this is.
And then there's not many. There's might be maybe a Battersea Park one or something down in England. A lot of these things are down in England now. It's really good because Flat and Fast are up here now, and then there's Silver Now. So there are 3 faster opportunities in Scotland now. But other than that, yeah. And I love that Silver Now's, because one year, I don't think it was post-pregnancy, I couldn't do it, and they had the women running separately to the guys. But I love it when they have the women in with the guys because you run faster.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is that, and that's the one Adrian Stott puts on it?
Yeah. Adrian, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll be listening, all right.
I'll be listening.
Definitely.
I was reading Scottish. I've got it in front of me just now, saying that you set the course record to take the win in 16 minutes. Your fastest time for this since in 2 years at the fast. Was that last year?
Yeah, that was last September. Yeah. So yeah, that was me. So that was so I was stuck up. So when I had Maisie the June before that. Yeah.
That was September 24 or 25.
24, yeah.
September 24. The flat and fast 5K in Linlithgow. Yeah. But you did the Silver Nows this year.
Yes, yeah.
In May in what, 15:54?
Yes, yeah.
Brilliant. After New Year's Eve, or Hogmanay, I should say. What's happening between then and February then? Is there anything happening between then and February?
There'll be some cross-country races. So there's inter-districts, and then there's the national cross-country champs in Calendar Park. So last year I wasn't able to. I had to drop out actually, which hardly ever happens. I basically tried my best to make the start line, but that was my back. That's when we didn't realise what was happening with my back actually.
Right.
Basically I had a neural hamstring. Have you ever had any neural issues with your hamstring or calf or anything?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's horrible. It feels like it's actually going to rip, like tear. It feels like, it's horrible.
So is that anyway, when you say that, is that like nerve related?
Yes, yeah. So it's basically nerve. So when you've got a
Yes.
nerve, yeah.
Like
You have it.
sciatica.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Have
There's
you
a
had
lot
it
of
in your hand?
people with hamstring. It presents as if my hamstring's away to
Yeah.
explode.
Yeah.
It's touch wood.
Should.
Touch wood.
Yeah.
All my religious strength and conditioning that I do 2 times a year seems to have sorted it. Once every 6 months, I do a glute bridge. Sorry, Fiona, if you're listening, I do it. That's what I'm doing out in the
Twice a
garage
week.
every Wednesday night.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing out there. So no, I can relate to it. Yeah. And I'm sure plenty of people listening will also be familiar with this kind of pain.
Yeah, it's one of the nastiest ones up there. But yeah, so I wasn't able to do it, and Lucy's like, look, the big thing's next year because you'll be 40. He's like, how cool would it be if you could medal when you're 40? Because that's the thing, like, I feel...
So you're 40 early, 26?
Yeah, in February, yeah. So I'll be 40.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so you're going to be 40 by the time that calendar part comes round this year.
Yeah.
And next year, really. Okay.
Yeah. But it's
2026
10K.
better watch it, so.
Does everybody know this in Scottish athletics? Are they aware that you're changing 8 cat? They will be, what am I saying?
I don't know, yeah.
Oh, well, they do now. They do now. Okay.
You're a very busy lady, from what you've just been describing about how you balance and manage your working, or not your working week, your week.
Yeah.
What interests or hobbies do you have outside of running? Mama too. Maybe that's your hobby. But what else do you like?
To be honest, I love reading books, but so I went down to a race. It was like the Mid Cheshire 5K, and it was so weird because I had Chris Hoy's book, and I was like, this is great. Being able to read a book, but I got done about halfway through, and I've not been able, since getting back, I've not been able to finish it. It's like you just don't have time for that. I felt a bit extravagant because I felt like I should be doing work when I'm down here, but to be honest, I would say probably running is a hobby, and then trying to spend all your time with the girls, because people do tell you it goes so fast. So I actually love just taking to the park, doing stuff. Just it is really good fun. So yeah, but not the most exciting answer.
Yeah, that's okay. It's cool. And kids have got that natural. They want to run anyway, don't they? Or they're not running away from you. They like a game of chase and stuff like that, and running. Yeah, and I've seen the joy in their faces at the end of that cross country when you came across. That must be some. That must be some draw as well. If your kids are waiting at the end to get there faster,
totally,
must be. Yeah, lovely.
Well, it's funny because at these districts recently, Molly, honestly, it was 3 laps. So going into the 3rd lap, I was a wee bit behind, and then she was like, in fact, I looked like I was going to drop off, and then she was like, "Go faster, Molly!" And then I was sprinting at the end, and I got 2nd, and then Molly was like, "You skipped that person, Mummy, because I shouted on you," and I was like, "That's so cute."
Brilliant. Go faster on me. I ain't bother.
Yeah, I know that's what I was actually thinking. But the way she said it was like she was sounding a bit fed up, being like, "Go faster, Mummy," and I was like, "All right." But yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, Stephen, I think we're coming to the close.
We have raced through that. Something of us. Well, I say that it's been about an hour and a bit. That's often what.
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, John.
I've got one other thing.
Gesticulating. What is it?
Yeah, one other thing. We sometimes ask people for a secret question, and
you've got a secret question.
I nearly forgot. I asked Debbie Martin-Kinsani.
Yeah.
What one question would you ask Morag? And Debbie came back with, what's Morag's secret for her longevity in the sport?
I think it's because I've been injured so often that my legs haven't had the impact that some other people have had, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we're not advising people get injured.
No.
But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Debbie. Will be happy to hear that, I'm sure.
Low mileage.
But also, as you get older, you train smarter, I think. And I think I'm a bit slow to the game, so I think I'm only starting to do that. Because I've only just discovered how much fun spin classes are. I think they're fun anyway. Yeah, and they keep you so fit.
Do you ever when I go into the Peak in Stirling sometimes, and there's a spin studio there, and it's all disco lights and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're doing it in music.
Yes.
Is it yeah. But a bit of Taylor Swift and everything I've heard belting out of there whilst people are spinning.
Yeah, they have their tracks. So sometimes they'll do it themselves, or they'll have RPM 107, and then they've got like set tracks to play, and then the one will be like a hills track, and ones will be an intervals, and ones will be speed, and then it's good.
Okay. John, are you a
See you
spinner?
there.
I'm not yet, but I would never.
Because the kids are at the swimming pool, and I just walked past, pretty intrigued.
I would never rule it out, Stephen. Maybe we should take a wee trip down there. I can get my. Which kind of shoes do you wear there? Not just normal shoes.
You can just wear trainers. I've actually got I had them years ago. It's like the wee clip-on cycling ones, but you can just go in trainers.
Aye, I've got trainers. I've got the gear. No idea. There you go.
That's for sure.
Okay. Right, Stephen, let's close it up.
Well, yeah, we asked for a dialect dictionary word. Now, we did speak a wee bit about that before we came on here, so there's no pressure to have a dialect dictionary. But you let on at that point you were for Auchterarder.
Yes.
Yeah, which was... Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking, because we've had this debate before, because we're in competition with another Langtoon, aren't we? Kirkcaldy, that's what they...
Yes, yeah.
But if we get the Langtoon into the dialect dictionary as Auchterarder, the Langtoon, I think that could mean that Kirkcaldy finds its place in the hierarchy.
I did actually think of a word earlier, actually.
Oh.
Well, it's because I said Egypt, but I was like, one of the words I really like, but you'll know it already.
That's all right.
So I don't think it's a dialect word. I like the word glaikit.
Glaikit?
Oh, Glaikit's a belter.
It's a good word, isn't it?
Glaikit is used weekly in my house, usually towards me by others. So, yes, Glaikit. I think we've had Glaikit in anyway, John, so...
I don't know. I've seen it on a coaster somewhere.
I often see it in a cup.
Have you one of those tea towels? You know the ones with all like Scottish words in it?
Yeah.
Glaikit's a belter.
We're going to bring out a range of Young Hearts Run free ones of those Morag. Yeah.
I don't know how I've got boxing in my head. Maybe it's with Kyle Wilson on. He's a keen boxer. But it's just the way you've been describing it, with your team behind you in your corner. They could be saying to you, look, Morag, she's looking right Glaikit, take her. So there you go.
Need to get myself off.
Okay, yes. Anyway, there we go. So the Langtoon is in and Glaikit is in. So we got two for the price of one, really. So thank you very much, Morag. Pass over to John for the final question. It's an important one.
This could be causing a stooshy in Scotland with the Langtoon thing. With Kirkcaldy.
A stooshy, another end.
So, musical question. We have a Young Hearts Run Free playlist, Morag, that when folk are listening to us, they might choose to go and listen to the Young Hearts Run Free playlist. It is a very wide-ranging genre of music. What track or song would Morag like to add in for the Young Hearts Run Free listeners?
I love this song, and then we were just watching Money Heist last night, and it's the last episode. It's the last song in it, and I was like, I wasn't sure it was this one, but I definitely think so. "Fix You" by Coldplay.
Oh yeah, that is an absolute stunner of a tune. It builds, doesn't it? It builds, that one. Yeah, absolute brilliant. I don't think it's quite a boxing walk. I'm going to let boxing go, but I don't think it's a sort of walkout song. But it's certainly an absolutely fantastic song that you can run to as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's also quite calming sometimes, I think.
Yeah, it's calming. I have just added it to the La Buff playlist, because that's what our playlists are called, volume 12.
Wow, that's great.
Oh yeah, if you're ever looking for any kind of vibes for when you're running, just Spotify search La Buff, all one word.
Okay, write it down.
That's for the listeners' benefit as well.
And that will be your play out tune that for the audio version people are listening to. Coldplay will be coming in very, very soon. But we'll wrap this up first. Morag, it's been a fascinating chat. It's way over an hour. I'm not sure how long it is, but it's way over an hour that I've been chatting. But it has been fascinating, set at some pace. I never knew your back story, so thank you very much for sharing that in your early career and talking about the Commonwealth Games and representing Scotland. I loved all of that, and then also love the very personal side of stuff that you've shared about even going back to that, getting bulky at the Institute of Sport and that sort of stuff, because people all think about that as well, because there's a fine balance about how much strength and conditioning you want to do, because it impacts on you and your effort for everybody. And then I think the bit I liked most about our chat was when you were talking about becoming a mum and how that's had impacted on you and how it might impact on other people too, and that awareness about the pelvic floor. I love that. I love that you're giving out that type of advice. But I've thoroughly enjoyed your crack. It's been brilliant. It's been great chat. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to Stephen to wrap us up.
No, actually, when John said that we were chatting, because it was John who arranged this through Debbie, like he said, and I was like, I seen that name on the park run finish list. She's pretty quick, and I've actually spotted you a couple of Saturday mornings, and I've kind of apprehensively went, who's this weird guy coming to tap me on the shoulder? But the next time I see you, I'll come and say hello. That is for sure. And also, just a wee point for your other half, you must run up in Auchterarder from time to time.
He has done, yeah, because we've got a couple of friends that live up there.
Right, because that's where I've seen him on the Strava leaderboards, because I was checking it out whilst we've been speaking.
Yeah, but plus my mum and dad are still in Auchterarder, so
well, just give him a wee
shot.
We might be a wee shot across the bows. I've got a couple of tripwires set up on my segments that I want to protect. Exactly. I've dug a couple of holes and there's a couple of trap doors and everything like that. So ward them off going down the Provost Walk or anything, will you?
Provost Walk, I bet that right.
I'm only joking.
He says go to the Provost Walk.
Oh man, but no, thanks so much for giving out your time coming to speak to us. Life's busy and we appreciate you taking time out to chat to us. It was brilliant and great to meet you, Morag. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks guys, thanks for having me. That was good fun.